Hey everyone, so I am talking about the second episode of Marco Polo in season 1 that is entitled The Wolf and the Deer. So basically the episode starts off with Marco writing I think they said the Chinese characters. I might not be totally accurate on that. But that's what I heard in the first episode was that he was supposed to start um, writing the Chinese characters. I'm not sure exactly if the Mongolian characters are different than the Chinese characters or not. But that's what I assume he's writing. Then he gets a knock on the door, and he is told that his order that he requested is ready and it's being delivered. Um, then he's seen packing whatever, and then he goes to the stables where the horses are. Then while he is doing all that, he sees the prince's army, or what's left of them, coming back. Um, and then it goes to the prince talking with Kublai and telling him that what had happened and how none of the people that were supposed to meet the prince were there, um, and how he decided to just go ahead and um, attack Zhang Yang anyway. And that's when, and while they're talking, that's when his mother comes in and tells him to go to the healer, so because he has cuts on his arms, which are still, I think, kind of bleeding there. And she tells him to go immediately, despite interruptions from Kublai and everything. But before the prince goes, Kublai is wondering why his brother never showed up to meet the prince's army. But then he just decides to let his son go to the healer without really getting much of an explanation. And I think his son said that he would find out before he went. And then it cuts to Marco the next day asking the tax collector how the merchants and other people are taxed. And you hear Marco wondering if what happens in Venice also happens in Mongolia. And what happens in Venice is if the people can't pay their taxes, they're jailed. And the tax collector tells him that it's not what happens there. So they talk for a little bit about the about the taxes and everything, and then you see Marco having dinner with the tax collector's family. Oh, actually, before you actually see them having dinner, or after dinner, you see the tax collector getting handed a piece of linen by this older lady who has this shop. And so now after dinner, Marco sees this piece of paper by this candle that has something written on it, and something that Marco can't understand because he's still learning how to write and understands the language there. And the tax collector says, I think he says it's something like love poems for his wife because he travels every 2 weeks. And he's gone for at least a day or two or something like that on the Silk Road. And Marco makes his comment saying, when will we travel it? And the collector says back to him, no, not we, me is going on the Silk Road, because you, Marco, aren't allowed to do anything yet, besides what he's allowed to do at this point, which is train and learn about taxes and learn how to write the characters there, and that's the only thing he's allowed to do. So that's why the tax collector said that so far. And then it cuts to Mei Lin in China, where she tells her daughter a story of a noble tiger, where he slept, where he was old. He was pretty old, and he was tired and weary and everything, so he decided to lay down and go to sleep for a long time, and all that. And that's when the Chancellor shows up, and tells his sister that the Emperor's death is very, very much near. And the Emperor asked for the consort meaning Mei Lin, to come over before he dies. And so, before she leaves, she says that she'll bring her daughter to say goodbye to her father and the Empire, pretty much signifying that Mei Lin's daughter is the Emperor's daughter. And then it goes to Marco leaving the city walls one evening, and that's where he sees the woman that he's been seeing all over the town. And he tells her that she seems very much like him, like a slave or a servant, but then she says that she's not. And then after all that, when they go back to the town, because they both were outside of the city walls when they were talking to each other. And after they go back into the town, you see her with the guy that Marco bumped into last episode, that tall dude with the shoulder length hair or whatever, and the no shirt on, I think. And I don't know, I don't really quite remember what he looks like, but or what he was wearing, but now Marco is being asked to describe the ponies by Kublai, which to me sounds like Kublai knows that Marco has been riding the horses. And Kublai tells Marco that he must now shadow the prince and give a report of the kingdom that his brother rules over. When they get there, after however long it takes to get there, the prince speaks to his uncle privately and tells his uncle that he didn't get any reinforcements when he went to go attack Zhanyang. And he also tells his father that he should have, or not his father, his uncle, sorry, that he should have sent word as to why he wasn't there. Apparently his uncle did send word, but his rider was killed before he could get word over there. And so his uncle is seen saying to the prince that that the prince's father insists on using the Chinese name Jin, I think is how you pronounce it. And that's not what his Mongolian name is, apparently. And his uncle, whose name is Arik, says that that Kublai is too trusting of outsiders, and that outsiders really shouldn't be trusted and shouldn't be allowed inside Mongolia because they will learn Mongolian secrets and everything. So that's why he feels like outsiders really shouldn't be trusted and therefore let into the Mongolian kingdom. And so they go back to where Kublai's city is, and the prince recounts what this uncle told him to his father. Then Kublai asks Marco to describe what he saw, which he does, and then the prince says that his uncle's army is ready, but Marco cuts in after a few seconds and says that he fears the army will never be able to reach Yangon because it apparently takes 3 weeks within the desert to get to the city, and Marco fears that the armies will never make it there on time because the desert is really harsh and everything, and being as someone who's never been through the desert for as long as he has, Marco feels that it took a toll on him, and so he feels that it'll do the same for the army trying to make its way to Zhanyang, and that the army's total will be cut in half because of it. Then you see the prince get kind of upset about the fact that Marco would so plainly talk against him. But Marco explains that he was only saying something that he sees, he's seen and heard and experienced and everything. And when Kublai leaves after dispatching a messenger bird to his brother, that he will cut. He says in a roundabout way that he will cut Marco's tongue out. And then it cuts to Marco in his new room and trying to pack his things and then leaving. But then when he goes to the stables, you see the blind man, who I found out his name is 100 Eyes. And 100 Eyes says something along the lines of that his sword is now useless because it's broken into pieces, and there isn't much water, if any, which will only last Marco 2 days if he leaves, and there's no more food, saying that something in particular tasted very nice and everything. But Marco keeps insisting that this isn't his home, and 100 Eyes says that he was told to train Marco, not to wallow in nostalgia with him. And then it cuts to Hundred Eyes training Marco with the sword, and the prince interrupts after a minute or two, and says to Marco, if he humiliates him in front of the court again, that he wouldn't hesitate to kill Marco. And then as he leaves, he states that Arik, his uncle, betrayed them, basically. And then so you see Kublai sitting in the garden with his wife, and they're talking. He tells his wife that his brother always wanted to be Khan of Khans, and it shifts to the fact that Kublai feels like what he will do is he will ship his brother off to Siberia for what he's done, but that's not what his wife thinks should happen. She tells him that that Kublai is all willing to trample whole cities and villages, but when it comes to his brother, who literally almost killed his son, that he won't do anything just as harsh as trampling whole cities. And to which Kublai states that he knows how to deal with his brother, but still that's not really all that satisfactory to his wife, which I completely understand, because if it was my child whose uncle decided to screw over, then I wouldn't be all that happy about it either. And so his wife decides to get up and leave, but as she's leaving, she says that she'll only be happy when Arik is trampled by 1,000 horses or something like that. And so it cuts back to China again, where the Chancellor is playing with praying mantises again, like in the first episode. And there's this guy. I don't really know what the guy who's sitting across from him is supposed to be. I'm not sure who he's supposed to be and what his role is in China. But that guy is sitting in front of him again, and the guy sitting in front of the Chancellor notices this little silver piece with Arik's face on it, and the Chancellor explains that he has it for when Arik becomes Khan and opens the Silk Road to China again, or at least to Zhanyang again. And then the Chancellor is requested to go to the Emperor's royal bedchambers, and so he does. And his wife the wife is there. The Emperor's wife is there, and you clearly see the Emperor is dead, because the sheet is covering him, like every inch of him, including his head. So the Chancellor tells him that Kublai's army is defeated for now, and that his army will come back eventually, and everything. His army will come back and all. And the Empress says that she fears his expectancy of the army coming back and his thirst for the army coming back is what will happen. Is that she fears that he has this very big thirst for the Mongols to come back, and that something like bad will happen, or something as in regards to her and um, her power as Empress still goes. At least that's what I got from it. I don't know exactly if that's what she fears, if that's actually what she fears is her position as Empress is going to be threatened or anything. I'm not sure if that's exactly what she fears or anything or not, because he didn't say so in so many words, but that's the feeling I got. But moving on, Ahmed is shown next. He is the financial advisor to Kublai, and he's talking to the tax collector about the deposits that he got and everything. And then, just as the tax collector is about to leave, he asks Marco to stay behind to talk to him for a little bit. And once the tax collector leaves, he asks Marco to explain his gift, which is apparently, as Ahmed puts it, the gift of speaking and painting pictures with just words. And so that goes on for like a minute or two, and then Ahmed asks Marco if the tax collector has been paying taxes in the form of linen. Marco doesn't really say a definitive yes or no. So Ahmed asks him again whether or not he has, if the tax collector has been paying his taxes via linen. But Marco pretty much says in a roundabout way that yes, that the tax collector has. Then it cuts back to China, where Meilin and another woman are singing a song to her daughter, whether it's in Cantonese or Mandarin, I don't know, because I don't speak Cantonese or Mandarin, so I can't say for sure which one it is. But she's singing to her. She and the other woman are singing to her daughter, and one of those two Chinese dialects there, and then she's interrupted by 3 soldiers coming in. So she asks the other woman to take her daughter out, and she closes the door behind them. Excuse me. And the 3 soldiers say that they were allowed to come in and sleep with her at the permission of her brother, even though she's generally or pretty much strictly an imperial consort. So when she hears that her brother gave permission for them to sleep with her, she pretends to start to undress, and when she's completely naked, that's when she starts to kill them. And when she successfully kills all 3 of them, she is taken by force, naked still, to her brother, who says that she should be tied up to a post and de-skinned, basically, for what she has done to the soldiers. To which she says that she has helped him by bartering for his political position, but she won't barter for her loyalty to his soldiers. And his rebuttal is that she is going to travel to Mongolia as a defector and become consort to the Khan. And she will report back to her brother, the Chancellor, about what Khan says and does, and she will do so without any complaint. And while she's away, her brother will take care of her daughter for her, pretty much holding her daughter ransom. Um, and then it cuts back to Mongolia, where the prince and Marco are on horses, and you see a herd of people, or a bunch of people on a herd of horses, running away on them. It's not quite clear what is happening at first, but the Marco is told that the tax collector's deposits didn't match up to what he claimed they were to, or what he claimed to have gotten versus how much he presented to Ahmed. And basically, what is happening is the people on the horses are running over the tax collector, who was wrapped up in a carpet, and they're running him over, and they eventually that kills him. So basically, that's what's happening and everything. And then apparently Marco is supposed to ride to battle with the prince's army, and give its own accounts to Kublai afterwards. That's basically what's supposed to happen. And then it goes back again to China, where Mei Lin is saying goodbye to her daughter before she is to leave to Mongolia. And then you see Kublai sitting on a throne, it seems, and he's just sitting there looking at whatever he's looking at, and it goes back and forth between him and Arik, who is being given a messenger bird, where the messenger bird has a broken arrow in it, and so you just see Arik holding it in his hand before Kublai and his army is walking through the desert, to where I think they're going is, which is Zhanyang, but it's not actually there at the moment. And then and then you see them walking along, and so you assume that well, not really assume that he's gonna do anything, but they stop, and then Kublai asks for someone to go fetch Arik, but it ends up being him going to Arik anyway, where they talk, and they're playing this game. I'm not sure what game it is. It might be Mahjong, I think, like an old, very old version of Mahjong or something like that. But I can't be sure because I couldn't exactly see what were on the tiles. So I assume it's Mahjong because those look like tiles. But as they play, Arik tells Kublai that he doesn't want to be emperor of the face of the earth. He wants to be Khan of Mongolia, to which Kublai says that being Khan of Mongolia and being emperor of the face of the earth are one and the same. And then the next day, after they don't come to any agreement as to Arik becoming emperor of the face of the earth, Arik's army is lined up facing Kublai's army, and Kublai and Arik decide to go down to the valley, the middle of the valley, that the sloping valley that they are standing in front of, and they go down by themselves and everything, and then they proceed to fight one another. And Kublai tells Arik, if he wants Mongolia, he needs to take it. And so they fight each other one-on-one, to which Kublai kills his brother, and then after Kublai tells his brother, or kills his brother, sorry, he tells his brother's army to prepare for war against Zhanyang. And that is the end of that episode. So basically, I pretty much stick with the predictions I made last episode. At the end of last episode, I still think Marco will end up having an affair with the woman he keeps seeing, whether it's brief or long term. I don't know, and I still think that he's gonna end up getting caught by someone. I don't know who, but by someone. I think that he will get caught. I just think he will get caught by someone, and his loyalty will be trusted, because eventually he'll gain his Kublai will start to trust him and everything, and he'll just get detrusted in a way because of it. As far as anything in China goes, I think what will happen is I think Meilin, sorry, I think she will go to Mongolia and stay there for X amount of days, weeks, or years, or even months, possibly. And I think she'll stay there. She'll stay there for however long she stays there. But then she will flee during the night and try to come back for her daughter in Zhanyang. Either that, or she will, like, on her way to Mongolia, she will escape and flee and everything. She will escape the soldiers trying to take her to Mongolia. I think that's what will happen, and then she will try to go back to her daughter, to get her daughter some way, somehow, after she flees the soldiers on the way to Mongolia. Those are my predictions for now. If you like my video, if you also further like it, subscribe, and to get more videos in the future. If you don't like the videos, I can't help you there. But yeah, hit like and subscribe if you want to see some more videos. And I will see you in the next video for either Marco Polo or Escape the Night. And that is all I have left. Thanks, folks.